morning.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Okay, what is the date?
Today is Sunday, May 29th. We are in the
29.
middle of our May long weekend, like all of our Canadian friends like to call it. It's
What do they
Memorial
call it?
Day. They call it May long weekend. Last
April?
weekend, last weekend they had their Victoria Day, which Monday was a holiday for them. So
Right.
they call it their May long weekend, which Sue and Chelsea just thought was the coolest thing. A lot of people are now on Instagram are calling it May long weekend. So
Oh, okay.
anyway, good morning. We are the Periscoping Sisters. I'm Debbie.
I'm Amy.
I live in California.
I live in Georgia.
And we have a Ravelry group. It's called the Periscoping Sisters on Ravelry. And what else? Oh, I'm Debbie S. Reese on Instagram. Debbie Reese on Ravelry.
I'm Inked Indigo on Instagram and Indigo Amy on Ravelry.
Earthquake. Gotta be careful.
Sorry, my knee hit the table. Sorry.
Uh-oh. Okay, so happy Memorial Day, everybody. I'm hoping that this is up by Memorial Day. I'm going to try and get it all fixed up today and uploaded tonight. And yeah. So in our Ravelry group, we have over 900 members. Amy, did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Over 900.
That's exciting.
I know. It's pretty amazing.
Thank God these people don't need to be babysat because I would certainly need a salary if I had to babysit that many people.
I know. There's a lot of
That's
nice
cool.
chatter and introductions and everything. I actually had one of our viewers say she happened across our first episode, and her mom passed away several years ago, but her mom's name was Debbie Reese. And
No way.
Yeah, spelled differently. But she said it was just so bizarre to hear her name, her mom's name, on a podcast, and she just kind of was like, "Oh my gosh!" So that's interesting.
I know for sure we're not going to hear Nancy Vushek on anybody else's podcast, so we can,
we're good.
Sure, for Red Full Show, even more crazy.
Yeah.
That was weird.
Yeah. So, anyways, so in our Ravelry group, we have several things going on. We have a traveling fiber unicorn, which was so generously made by Andre Sunit's daughter, Rachel, and Abigail.
Yeah.
Abigail made the unicorn, and we named her Gabicorn.
Gabicorn.
Right, after
That's
Abigail. Right. So she travels around the world, and she has a little notebook that goes with her, and she was on her way a couple weeks ago to see Eric in Canada from Chile, and I have not heard any news yet that Eric has received her. So I might have to send him a little message, and I've looked at his Instagram feed, and he hasn't posted anything about her recently, so we'll just hopefully keep our fingers crossed that she's going to make it up there. So that's fun. But if you search the hashtag Traveling Fiber Unicorn on Instagram, you will see pictures of her all over the place, which is very fun. And then we also have our June birthday swap is currently open and will be open for another week or two. If you'd like to do a swap with another person that has a June birthday, feel free to sign up in there. And then let us
know if it's okay to pair you up with somebody who's international, or if you just want a domestic, that's fine.
Right.
Just put domestic only, please. So we know.
Right. Have
the birthday angel.
Yes, we have a birthday angel sign up. So if your birthday isn't for a while and you still want to do a swap, if we have an odd number of people and we need an extra person to pair people up, I choose the next person on the birthday angel sign up thread to do the birthday swap for the month. My Wendy Sky Knit Along, which started way back in March. It was a 3-month knit along. It's about to end this week. Yeah. So make sure you put your finished objects in the finished objects thread. A lot of beautiful Wendy Sky shawls out there. Melissa from the Spicy Homemakers podcast actually did a joint finished objects thread, and she had several people put their finished objects in there as well. That's been closed down. She so generously is giving everybody that posted in there a prize. I don't know if you watched her latest podcast with her bird.
No.
Her bird lands on her head for part of the show, and she just continues to sit there and talk, and her bird is sitting on her head. So anyway, that's about to end. If we don't record for another 2 weeks, we'll just announce the winners on our next podcast. Didn't really time it very well for a podcast to be about the same time, but that's okay. Life happens. What else?
Lolo Did It has a group in her Ravelry group is Lolo Did It, and she is hosting a Because I Love You rap knit along, and that is also ending May 31st. So make sure you get over there. I'm not sure exactly what prizes, since she's a beautiful indie dyer. I'm sure there may be some fiber prizes. There's also going to be a gifted pattern of the Because I Love You pal. So go over there and put your finished object for the Because I Love You wrap. Get them done, because there's so many more things to knit other than these.
I know. And I don't know if you saw Amber's latest podcast, The Yarn Junkie. She actually was wearing her Because I Love You wrap. She finished it for her daughter. Yeah, it looks really pretty. She went on and on about how beautiful and how much fun it was. And so that's an awesome pattern. She even mentioned that her husband, when he saw it,
What are you drinking?
I'm drinking air.
Oh, I was going to say, don't lie.
I have my mug, so it looks like I'm drinking something, but I'm really not. So I'll just put that over there. So anyway, her husband made a comment about what a cool design it was when he saw it pinned out on the floor. I thought that was really neat.
Oh.
Yeah, she says, my husband doesn't usually notice what I'm doing with my knitting, but this time he actually saw it, and he was like, wow, that's a cool design. So that pattern is awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's good.
And then
for most of us, if men notice anything about yarn, we hope they don't notice the growing stash. That's why we put it in drawers and close the drawers. But every now and then, one of our men would say, "Ooh, that's a pretty color. What are you working on?" Ronnie always notices what I was telling him. I said something about wool wash or the wool light. I had the buckets out, and he says, "Oh, you must have finish something up." And I said, "Yeah, I finished something up." So he knows that you use that after you're done.
Very good. We're going to have him knitting before the end of it. We're going to have him knitting before the end of it. I know it.
He's sitting right over here doing his paperwork, and I keep trying to bug him and try to get needles in his hands, but he's not saying anything, so maybe he's thinking about it.
Hi, Ronnie.
So maybe
and then I'm pretty sure everybody's heard about Mina's new sock patterns. Four of them. We were so graciously gifted her sock patterns. It's called Beyond Vanilla Socks Part 1. So I'm assuming, Mina, there's going to be a Part 2, which is awesome. And she has graciously gifted the podcast one of her patterns to give away. So we have another giveaway. I'll have to open a thread. And I heard, I think I was watching Amber, Yarn Junkie. She said she's going to steal from Eric, and I haven't had a chance to watch his podcast yet. But apparently, Mina's gifted several of the podcasters her pattern, which is so awesome. And Eric's prompt for his thread was, tell me your favorite sock pattern. So I think that would be really cool and really fun to see what people post as far as their favorite sock pattern. So I think we should start a thread. So what are you saying? You're going to put a thread? Yeah, I'll put a thread for that giveaway, and I don't know how long you want to run it for. Till the next podcast, so we can draw on the next podcast? Sure. Yeah. So. Yeah,
I think like Debbie had sort of said, I think for us, it is summer, which doesn't mean anything to the rest of us working people. Summer just means you have to get out there and it's hot. Okay, so but I think we have more to show and more to talk about and more knitting done if we maybe do our podcasts every other week. So nobody wants to hear us every week. Come on, people, right? That's just crazy. Not that we don't have enough stories to tell every week, but Mother would say, you girls don't have enough yarn and things knitted up, so you need to wait a little bit.
Right. So
like
we'll do.
Told you, she doesn't need to. like she told you, she doesn't need to visit with you because she sees us on the computer almost every week anyway.
She just called me right before we started recording. She has some comments on our pattern, so I'll have to make sure I get those notes from her. I think she found a typo, so we'll have to get those fixed and then get that uploaded.
Well,
speaking of which, it's a good segue.
So we don't melt. We're waiting to take them off because we're wearing them, and I'm like sweating. Okay, anyway, it's our random active color, which is our new design coming out June 15th. We're going to be doing the knit along July 1st in honor of Wendy's birthday month. I'm taking mine off because I'm hot.
Okay, I'm taking mine off too.
We can show it again.
I still haven't woven in all my ends, so I can't show my whole thing, but... And graciously, Mina was one of our test knitters, and she helped us figure out a little addition to the edging before we do the bind off, so that our bind off doesn't flip up and curl like we've been having problems with. So the real pattern, the real pattern is going to have another little row of seed stitch like here before the bind off. So... that's our pattern. We're real excited about it. I know.
Let's show everybody our yarns because, Anzula Luxury Fibers had kind of given us yarn support for all of our test knitters, which was so generous.
Very generous.
And I had just finished doing the prototype, which is, what we just showed you. So we still have our 3 colors that we chose. And we're saving them so Deb and I can do the knit along with everybody else. So I thought that was Debbie's idea. I said, that sounds like a great idea. Let's do the knit along with everybody else.
Okay, so what's your color A?
I still haven't figured that out. I think my color A is going to be herb.
Pretty. It's like it has a little bit of a green tinge to it, huh? Mine's going to be gravity.
My color B is going to be storm. Gravity, yeah. That's going to look good.
My color B is storm. Yours isn't storm. Mine's
yours is storm. Well, mine's pewter.
Pewter.
Mine's pewter.
Mine's storm.
And then C is going to be hibiscus for me.
And for me, I'm using rust, which is the same color that Mina has in her shawl, rust.
Yeah.
Mina's colors are so awesome. I'm going to put some pictures up of her finished shawl. Y'all okay? Y'all okay over there?
I'm sorry. Ronnie's going to take the bird out into the garage or take him outside. I mean, not let him go outside, like fly free, goodbye, go fly away and don't come back outside. But he's going to pick the cage up and take him outside because he hears my voice and he gets real noisy and sings and whistles when he hears me, and I don't need him doing that right now because it's very distracting. Okay, so good. So we talked about that. All right, so do you want to, let's do a Life is Short story. You want to?
Okay, I have one quick one because I didn't really talk about this at all, and it was a pretty major event in our lives the last 2 weeks, but my husband had heart surgery last week. On Friday, he's been dealing with AFib, and his heart has been going crazy with too much electrical stimulation, and it's been going all the way down to 40 beats per minute up to 150 beats per minute in a matter of a few minutes. And so it wasn't an emergency surgery. Yes, electrifying. So it wasn't an emergency surgery, thank God, but it was a planned surgery, and everything went really well. He's home now recovering, and he's actually right now, believe it or not, he's at the gym. He was made to stay and lay low for 5 days, which was nearly torture for him. But he's at the gym now. He's doing some walking and a little bit of lifting. And so he is expected to have a full recovery. So thank you for some of my close friends who were praying for me and texting me. And actually, Mom and Dad, just out of the blue, showed up at the waiting room when I was there waiting. It was such a nice surprise. They said, we knew it was... Yes, we knew it was the right thing to come and sit with you because this, even though you may try and just blow it off like it's not a big deal, it's a big deal, and we didn't want you to be here alone. So thank you, Mom and Dad, very much for coming.
You remember me asking the day before and the day of? I said, "Is Mom and Dad coming down?" They didn't tell me they were going to surprise you, and you were like, "No, no." And then later on when you said, "Oh, they came down," I said, "Oh my God, I thought ruined the surprise." You probably didn't think Andy was coming, did you?
I didn't
At
really
least I
think.
didn't say, "Well, Mom and Dad said they were going to come and see you." I didn't say that. At least.
Yeah, that would have been bad. But I was just sitting there, listening to. I think I was listening to Boston Jen, and she's a very calming voice, and I was knitting on a sock and just trying to pass the time. And in they walk, and I was like, oh my gosh, hi! And so it was really nice. And they stayed with me, and we went and had lunch, and then. As soon as James was admitted upstairs to his own room, they came up and they saw, Mom wanted to make sure she saw him breathing and walking on his own and awake and everything. And as soon as they saw him settled in, then they left and went home, and I hung out with him.
What did she bring to knit on?
She brought a sock, just a vanilla sock, I think. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And she brought something. Let's do this before you do your Wendy story, because I know you do have one. She brought a sweater that she knit, because remember how I was telling people how you can make buttons out of Fimo clay?
Yes.
Fimo? Yeah, she let me borrow this sweater that she bought as a kit, and she made her own Fimo buttons. But check this out. I hope I can hold this up right.
So the buttons are on the left-hand side, right? The triangular buttons?
Right.
Oh, those are really neat. You did a good job, Mom. That's a really interesting sweater. It's got cables, and it's more of a, it's definitely not a traditional sweater.
No. So she made these little triangle buttons,
Exactly.
and then she put like a little different colored dot on each one. Aren't they cool? But yeah, the construction of this sweater is amazing. Look at the yellow baubles.
I see that. Oh, those are knitted baubles?
Yeah.
Oh, neat.
And it's a full-on, really long coat kind of cardigan. And she put tape on the inside of her button bands.
Uh-huh.
Mom is she does such a good job with all this construction stuff.
Well, she used to make I wouldn't say she made our clothes when we were little, but she made us Christmas dresses that all matched and things like that. And she also, of course, was a extreme quilter. What?
It's funny that you say that, because I have some pictures of us on Christmas. Remember with Mom's blue dress and those little like gingham dresses she made for us? I'll have to put those in at the end of the podcast.
Do you remember the green velvet ones with the white lace yoke with a long red ribbon?
I know we have pictures of those somewhere too. Oh my gosh.
You're such 70s babies.
I know.
I look at some of my baby pictures. Of course, I was born in 68. Tells my age. But I said to my mother, I said, what were you thinking? Put me in these brown and orange striped shirts? And of course, I was bald until I was about 2 years old. I said, I look like a little boy. And Mom says, well, that was just, the fashion. I'm like, oh my God. Well, what happened to pink and blue? You could have put me in some pink at least. No, I'd have these brown and orange striped shirts. I look like a little boy. I look like a little chemo baby.
That's why when you grew up and you were a teenager, you got to be so girly and frilly. I actually have a picture of you wearing a shawl.
No.
I do.
No, was that the Easter picture you're talking about? It wasn't a shawl. It was a cape. It was a little cape. It was not a shawl.
You don't have it tied here. It was over your shoulders and wrapped around your arms. I kid you not. Do you know I need to bring it up and show you?
I dare you. It wasn't a shawl.
Don't you dare me. Don't say I won't.
But I always wanted to wear my patent leather black Mary Janes to school, but those were my Sunday school shoes. And Mom would always say, Amy, you cannot wear your Sunday school shoes to school. I said, but I want to. No, you can't. And of course, I begged her every night. I remind myself when I was little of my daughter now.
Can you see yourself there?
Oh my gosh, yes, you're right.
I'm putting this picture in at the end. And look at me, I look like a boy, my gosh. here we are with Dad.
That's when we were in the new house. Mom was about 40 there, I think. 39, 40. Oh, yeah. Big for us. Okay, you can put that away now if you like. So I bugged my mother every night. Put my hair in pin curls. Put my hair in pin curls. Little bobby pins because I wanted my hair. I was the girly girl. Wendy was just the opposite. She was probably 8 or 10 years old before my parents probably told her much sooner than 8 to 10 years old, but probably when she was 8 to 10 years old, finally complied. She would want to run around outside almost naked. Yeah. I mean, a pair of shorts and that's it. No top, no socks and shoes. We grew up on a whole street of boys. We had a creek running down next to our house, so we were constantly looking for worms and crawfish and crabs and all kinds of turtles and things. And she climbed trees. She was like a boy. She was like a tomboy. But when she was younger, before we even moved to the house where the creek was, we lived in a trailer park. I mean, for lack of better words, that's what it was. Trailer park. Yeah. And of course, Wendy was very independent. She did what she wanted, and I'm not saying she was rebellious or anything, but I mean, when you're 3 or 4 years old, you're gonna go as your heart leads you. You don't really care necessarily what the rules are, or if it's dangerous, or if it's unsanitary. Well, I don't know. Mom probably went in to grab the phone or grab a glass of water when Wendy was outside, and the neighbor took a picture of her. She was very thirsty, and she found at another neighbor's trailer a water bowl that the dog drinks out of. So she squatted down and picked up the dog's water bowl and started drinking water because she was thirsty, and why not? It was good enough for a dog. Why can't it be good enough for a 3-year-old? But that was so, Wendy was, I don't know, if I had to pick one word to describe Wendy, I just couldn't. I mean, everything from, crazy is probably not padded room crazy. You know, when I say crazy, a lot of people say I'm crazy. You're not crazy, but she was. She
was vivacious.
Full of life. I mean,
yeah.
If it wasn't music that was coming out of her mouth, because Wendy also sang. Mm-hmm. If it wasn't, and we always say as she got older, she was a black woman trapped in a white woman's body. I mean, truly. I mean, when you think of a big black woman who's just maybe at church and just singing amen, that was so Wendy. If there wasn't music coming out of her mouth or singing, there were jokes, there were
sound
crack
effects,
ups, there were noises, various noises, there was jokes. I mean, it was crazy growing up in our house. It was so much fun. It was crazy.
But I do have a picture. I do have that picture that the neighbor snapped of Wendy drinking from the dog's bowl. So I'll put that in at the end of the podcast.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so since this is an indie podcast, and before we get in too much trouble with Mom, we really need to show something.
Yes. So.
Okay, so you want to do some work in progress?
Sure. Would you like to go first, or you want me to go first? I have 2.
I have 3, so why don't I go first?
Okay. You keep bumping your making an earthquake on your thing. What are you balancing on?
I'm sitting on a chair and everything's balanced on boxes and things. I'm trying not to touch. I'm trying not to bounce. I'm trying not to put. Okay. So, I hear people say that they're monogamous knitters, and I see myself as a monogamous knitter. However,
you're not.
I have like maybe 2 or 3 projects that I exclusively work on. I guess that's not called monogamous. That's called being a pimp, or maybe having a harem. I don't know. But I don't have like 10 different things I work on. I work on 3 or 4 different things exclusively. So yeah. So I don't know what got into me. I got kind of a wild hair one night. Ronnie was gone. The house was quiet. And I said, well, I'm going to just cast on Mina's squishy shawl. What was I thinking? Thank goodness it was early in the night that I had plenty of patience with myself, because it took me, I think Chelsea took more than 5 times. Maybe it was about 5. It took me about 5 times to get it right. But it was more because I hadn't done brioche really flat. I've never done brioche flat. So I'm using Circus Tonic Handmade in Gala.
Pretty. It doesn't come up,
And
I think, as blush as it is. It looks
it's
pretty.
not going up blush.
Well, you can see there's some tonal in the middle there, but it looks pretty light. But I think it has some pink in it, right?
It's a very light pink is what it is.
Yeah, it's pretty.
No, very light pink. And then Paper Dags Phoenix Rising.
Oh, they are so awesome together.
Okay, so let me put them back in my. I'm keeping them in my Fawn and the Fox bag, upside down, oopsie bag, the Christmas balls. I don't care if it's not Christmas. I like it. Okay, so here is the right side.
Oh, wow, Amy, you have made some progress.
Yeah, I know. And here is the wrong side.
Oh, wow, that is so pretty.
Isn't that cool?
Yes.
And there are a couple little mistakes, which I knew something was happening here. You see that right here?
Yeah.
I wasn't really sure how to fix it, so I just kept on.
And you're not going to see that. You're not going to see it.
On the right side. Look at those two little stitches. I have no idea what happened there. I don't know if I didn't get in the groove, in the groove where they were supposed to be, but they just decided to hop across. But it doesn't worry me.
It's so pretty.
Isn't that really cool?
Yes, beautiful. Hold it still.
Anyway, so I'm sorry.
Hold it still for a minute. The screen goes all blurry when you move it around so much. Yes. Turn it around. Let me see the other side. Being bossy.
Yes, bossy.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Dag's yarn is knitting up so pretty. It's not pooling or anything. It's just all multicolored.
Beautiful. It's like these two yarns were meant to be together. So, and I tell you about my needles, but I don't know. Hang on a minute. They're my high-rise, I know. And I hear them outside squawking, size 6. I think she calls for size 5, but I'm using, because my 5s were probably on something else. And I said, no big deal.
Close enough.
I'm like Jules' Diary of Yarn Snuff. She's just like, it doesn't bother me so much. I'm not going to rip it back. It's fine. Or, it's more of sort of the spirit of the law of knitting, not letter of the law. It's like the hashtag I put in, I think I was with that on Instagram. I said, it's errors allowed. It's not for the queen.
That's right.
Keep it all in perspective.
Even though you're the queen, even though you're the queen of your household.
Well, it's for the queen, and if it's okay for this queen, then that's all that matters.
Right. Okay. So remember how last time I just finished up my monkey socks? Did I show these? I think I did. My monkey A with my Berenwula barefoot sock orchid colorway, wild orchid. So after I knitted those, they were my first pair of socks that really had like a lace kind of pattern, or I don't know, not a lace. I did those Agatha socks a while back, but
something in that monkey sock inspired you to
design my own sock.
Design something new?
Yes, so I did, and I finished one pair in a week. And they're right here, and I'll show them in the finished objects a little closer. But last night, I decided I was going to, and actually I've been working on, I cast them on again. I made the small size. I started using the leftover of the same yarn, and then I realized I probably am not going to have enough yarn to even finish this small size, so I pulled those off the needles, and last night I cast on with this beautiful Miss Babs. It's her Windsor sock in the My Kelly colorway. And I got just barely through one repeat of the lace. You're probably not going to be able to see it because it's just barely started.
Well, if you just hold it still.
Oh, sorry. Well, you're not going to be able to see it. Let me put it on my hand. Maybe that will help. You're not going to be able to see it.
You can see a little bit at the top. Yes. The color is beautiful.
I know. I bought this yarn in 2011 at Stitches West. So it's been in my stash, and I bought a sweater's quantity of it.
my gosh, Debbie.
So I have like 4 skeins of this yarn. So I'm hoping that one skein, if I use it, I can still use the other 3 for something else. I can probably do a featherweight or something, some other lacy sweater with 3 skeins. So this is actually really knitting up very nicely. I really like the feel of it. It feels like it's sturdy. The stitch definition is wonderful. And I'm really enjoying it. Huh?
Do you think that design will be better with something that's highly variegated or something that's more tonal? Because I don't do that many socks, and whenever there's any kind of pattern, like the Hermione's, you can use any kind of yarn, and the Hermione's is going to come out beautiful.
Right.
There's others that you're like, boy, that totally, you kind of lose the whole pattern for the kind of yarn. So what do you think about yours?
The only kind of yarn that I think would not look that great with it would be a self-striping. I've knit up mine with speckles, and this is a tonal, and a solid would look great. I think it looks great on a speckled yarn as well. So, but I think the stripes it's a leaf, it's kind of like a repeating little viney leaf pattern, and the pattern's going to be released same time we release our shawl pattern, our wrap pattern, random active color. It's going to be called "Don't Touch Those Leaves" because it reminded me of the story about the poison ivy. And yeah, I'm really excited. Sue posted, I sent the pattern to Pooh. I sent the pattern to Sue, and I said, don't feel obligated to be a test knitter, but if you want to just try it, I know you love to knit socks, so here, give it a try.
Yeah.
She started knitting. She's like, oh my gosh, these are so fun. They go so fast. They really do knit fast. She's partway done one sock already. Yeah. And she posted it on her Instagram page, and she's using this really crazy bright green hedgehog fiber sock yarn. It's beautiful. Cool. And she had a lot of comments on there, so she said, well, you need to just release the pattern, get it out there quickly, and so everybody can knit it. So I'm gonna do that. We'll see. It'll be fun. Did you buy me something?
It was giant.
I got some emergency snacks from my son.
Yeah, from the donut shop.
They went to the donut shop, and look, he bought me an apple fritter.
My favorite.
I know, I love it. Thank you, Luke. Yeah. So I had snacks delivered. That was nice. So anyway, I'm really looking forward to this. Tracy and Jody and Marsha are all test knitting this for me. So it's very exciting. Very quick sock knitters. And that's my work in progress. One of my works in progress.
Very nice. It looked like the tusks that are starting to grow from the walrus. Okay, so Friday night, just this past Friday night, because I cast it off, I'm sorry, excuse me, I must correct my grammar because Mother will call me and say it's not you didn't cast it on or cast it off. Cast on or cast off.
Right.
I cast off a finished object, so I had to cast on something new. And this happens to be something that Mother has already knit up. She's got me now all thinking about my grammar. What's that about?
Don't worry about
it. Up a couple of times. It is called Frisian. Is it Frisian or Frisian? I don't know. Hang on a minute. It is a pay pattern, so I'm gonna. But it's only $4.
I've had that in my favorites for a while.
Yep.
It's beautiful.
So I thought what better thing to do with one of my gradient yarns, and this was Mom's knit up. She used a gradient as well. That's a picture of what Mom did. Isn't that
pretty? Yeah.
It is pretty big. So I'm using my Art by Anna party cake.
I love it.
So, and I've knit all this since.
Oh my gosh, Amy, that is so fast. Holy cow.
It is fast, but the rows start getting longer, just like sort of our pattern, and because I love you, right? But see how Kelly green and real light it was, and now you can almost sort of see it's starting to change a little bit.
Oh my gosh, what a beautiful gradient. It's so subtle.
Yes.
And so, let me ask you.
This blue, darker turquoise is going to be at the end, and I think it calls for, hold on a minute. It calls for 564 yards, and this has 463 yards. But it does end up, I'm going to knit the entire skein, but if you continue this, the length of this ends up being like 78 inches long.
Oh.
Really, really long. So I think if I do the whole cake that I have here, then I think it'll be perfect length. It'll be okay. So that's been really fun. And if you do not like to, okay, the person that wrote the pattern, it's written by Brittany Wilson. It's on Ravelry, and like I said, it's $4 US. If you do not like to purl, guess what? There's one purl two together and one stitch that's purled every other row or something like that. Everything else is knit.
Wow.
Or knit two together. It is just, and it takes a couple points, a couple sections to learn the what the sequencing is. Mm-hmm. But after that, I don't even have to look at the pattern. So it is very fun. It's very, very quick.
And you're following the pattern. You're following the pattern. You're following the pattern.
I am following the pattern, but don't tell anybody. Okay, so as you talk with your mouth full, do you have something else to show, or now you've got sticky fingers and have to lick your fingers, so you're going to gross people out by doing that, Debbie?
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
I'm going to talk with my mouth full, but this next work in progress, it's about the most exciting knitting thing that's happened to me in a long time.
Oh my gosh, what could that be?
Somehow.
What, about it?
Huh?
Huh? Do I know about it?
Yeah. Somehow, I happened to see a post on Instagram that was only a post, a live post, for probably about 5 minutes. Maybe 5 minutes. I'm not kidding you.
Well, people get so lucky. Is that all you do is look at Instagram?
That's what's so crazy. I happened to be walking down the street during the Trump rally in my city. It was craziness. They were having these
down the street.
The janitors are on strike. They decided to do their big march down C Street, which goes right by my building, the same day that Trump is in town. They took advantage.
They have their mops and their buckets.
It was a mess. They took advantage of all the police, presence, and decided to march on the same day in the same location, or just a couple streets up from where the Trump rally people were. So all of that was going on. James Sr., because he's off for recovering for his surgery, and the boys were off on Friday for the May long weekend, he decided it would be a very educational experience to take my children downtown to experience all the crazy Trump rally things that were going on and see all the police force out in their, garb. So they were downtown. They were probably 6 or 7 blocks from where I work. So I decided, they said, come down, we're going to have lunch. So as I'm walking down to meet them for lunch, I just happened to pop on Instagram and I saw this post, and it was from Joji Locatelli. And she said, if you're interested in test knitting this pattern, direct message me. As soon as I have all my test knitters, I'm going to delete this post. So immediately I got on there and I sent her a direct message. I said, oh my gosh, Joji, I would love to. I'd be so honored to test knit for you. Debbie, right? Not just a few seconds later, as soon as I got to where I was going, I looked again and she had written me back. She said, great, awesome, send me your email address. So I got to be a test knitter for Joji Locatelli. Isn't that cool?
Holy Debbie Bruce. And then you look back and then the post was gone.
I looked back and the post was gone. And guess who else got in?
Tracy.
Jody and Tracy, both.
Both?
Yes.
You guys are so lucky.
I don't know.
You should have bought a lottery ticket that night.
I know. So this is, I'm pretty sure I can show it. I'm not going to show the picture of the actual finished object. The picture that she took, you guys, it's not going to be the picture on the final pattern, but she has it wrapped around her beautiful little boy. He is a doll. Oh my gosh, he is the cutest little guy. You've seen him on Instagram, I'm sure. Big brown doe eyes. He's just the cutest little guy ever. I just want to squeeze him. I want to go and take him out on a mom-son date and just like go out to lunch. He's so cute. Okay.
He's like what? He looks like he's about like 5, maybe 5 or 6. Is he that old, maybe?
Yeah, he's probably 6 or 7. Yeah, he's right in that 5 to 8 range. A doll. Just so adorable. So here is my shawl so far. I have my little donut progress keeper on there. It's just straight garter stitch so far. But the colors I'm using, it's a 3-color shawl. There's a main section, there's some stripes, and then there's an edging. And the colors that she used are her signature light gray, dark gray, and the big bright yellow edging that she used on a lot of her shawls. But I am using the 2 colors that we just got in our Hedgehog Club. So I'm sorry I just spoiled it for you, but you probably have all received your Hedgehog Sock Club. This colorway is called Serendipity. That's going to be the main color. You want to hold yours up, Aim?
Yeah, so they can see what it looks like still in the...
Right. Yours has a little bit more brown and orange in it, it looks like. Mine's definitely more purpley gray. But it has...
And we've already talked about what we need to do with these, don't we?
Yes. Because, of course, I got my heart set on these colors, and then I realized that I need 500 yards of the first color, and this is only 400 something. So I had to call my sister and beg her to please send me her hedgehog skein so that I can have it as extra. So what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to blend it right as it comes down to the end because it ends up striping with another color, and I'm using this color to stripe, which is pretty. One of the grab bag Sweet Georgia yarns that you told me just to put in my stash. You never know. I'm so glad I didn't give it away.
That's right.
And then the bright pop of color edging that I'm using is the other Hedgehog Sock Club that we got this month. And this one's called Serendipity. Sorry, that's okay. And this one, yours has a lot more white in.
Yeah, it's really.
White with speckles. Mine's definitely mostly blue. Oh, Aim, yours is so pretty. Yours reminds me of the colorway that I used to make my socks. What's the name of the colorway again, Aim? What's the name?
Of this one?
Yeah.
It's Water Lily.
Water Lily.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I know. So that's going to be the pop on the edge, and I love it because it's got a lot of the pink.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Isn't that going to be pretty?
That's going to be beautiful. It took a little bit of us to look it up. We had Debbie put several combinations, and so.
And look at the bag. Look at the bag. I'm keeping it in. It totally matches my colors.
Oh my gosh, it does. That's the one Chris got. Is that the one?
This is the Mrs. Brown's bag.
Oh yes.
My babushka.
I always think of Chris Kelly because she got those little. She got that as a gift. Those stackable Russian dolls as a gift. And when I see them, I think of Chris.
So that's what I'm using for my Hohi. I'm using my Chow Goo, size 4 interchangeables.
Yes.
I really like these. I like the cord. The cord's nice and stiff, and the needles are pretty pointy. So I'm really excited. I can't believe I got picked. It was total, luck.
I know. I can't believe either. But if it were me and I was picked, I would probably open my mouth and tell her that she must change the last word from shawl to wrap. And she'd be like, "Who is this chick? Being bossy, asking her test knit? She must not know who I am." Oh yeah, I'd be in trouble.
Oh, he's not like that. I'm sure. She actually even replied back because I sent in. She has an email string with all the test knitters in the email, and everybody's been posting their pictures of their colors and everything. And when I wrote back to her, I said, "Oh my gosh, I want to take your son out on a mom-son date. He just looks like the sweetest thing." And she wrote back. She said, "Thank you so much." But she's very sweet, and I just don't think you could follow the pattern. I think you'd have to change it somehow.
You're probably right. I've only had one person ask me to test knit something, and it was in such a tight time frame, and I felt really bad, but I had to decline. But you're right, I probably would be just a horrible test knitter. Now, if somebody wanted me to test knit something and say, give me some different options for this pattern so I can put it in the pattern, for people to have like 2 or 3 different options, like with stripes or changing the pattern up, I would so be able to do that because I just do that automatically. Okay, so while you're eating emergently, because you're starving over there, I'm going to tell you about my next one that is in my Bags by Awesome Granny bag.
Yay!
I so love this bag. I mean, this is a huge bag. This is a huge bag, and I love it. It is our Que Sera sweater. Debbie, have you been working on our Ryback sweater, the Que Sera?
I've been designing and knitting socks and working on a hoagie shawl.
Excuse me. That is not an excuse. October will be here, chop chop, and then you will be sleeveless with your vest instead of your sweater.
Oh my God, oh my goodness, Amy. Holy cow, you've been working on that a lot.
Yeah, so I decided to, on the medium, you're supposed to knit 15 inches up to the armhole. I'm going to knit 16.
Okay.
Just so when I block it, it doesn't. I don't want it too short. And I think I've got about 11 or 12 inches so far. So
it's really pretty.
I'm loving it. This is Quinson Cohen Lark, the sweater that Debbie and I dumped, the Citadel. We're using the yarn from it, but it's a beautiful, and it was free on Ravelry, wasn't Debbie? Hey, Sarah,
I think it is. I think it is free. Yeah, because it was up on Knitty.
Hold on, let me get a picture. I just have to remember what row I'm on here.
And it's knitting pretty fast too. I remember even after I started it, I didn't knit very long, and it goes really fast. Put it in the center of the screen, Aim. I don't want it getting cut off. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty. Really pretty.
So this is when worsted sweaters knit themselves, you guys. I mean,
yeah.
And honestly, Debbie, I'm trying to think that I did do kind of a short sleeve that tied in the front. I don't really know if you would call it necessarily a cardigan. And that was a long time ago. It's been a long time since I've done a sweater, but you must have a sweater for Rhinebeck. So you better get cracking, Missy, on your sweater.
It's funny
you
that
have to make sure that it is written correctly so I don't mess up and keep knitting the wrong thing, like I did the Citadel.
I don't think I'm going to catch up with you because I got to get this test knit done. I don't want to disappoint the famous
Don't want to
Hohi.
disappoint Hohi. Do not disappoint Hohi. Look and tell you. She'll say that Debbie, I don't know who she is, but who does she think she is?
I
That's
know.
what she said.
I know. So,
okay, so what else do you have? Work in progress.
Those are the only two I have in progress because I was knitting that those other socks and I got distracted and it just so. But I did.
Do you have any projects?
Yes, my socks.
Yes, you do.
My socks.
Okay.
So when I wrote this pattern, it really just kind of wrote itself. It was really funny because I just started knitting, and I started these cuff down, and I got all the way through the leg and realized that I didn't really like a piece of the pattern that I was knitting, and so I made an adjustment. And I adjusted the pattern on the top of the foot, so it looked a little bit different on the top of the foot than on. You'd never know unless I really pointed it out. But this is the sock pattern.
Is it as long as you normally make your socks, or it looks a little shorter?
It's a little shorter because it's kind of like a summer, lacy summer sock. Okay. Which is funny because when you say Rhinebeck, when Sue posted the picture of her test knit of this on Instagram, Seashore Sharon made a comment on there and she said, these need to be the official Rhinebeck socks because it's a leaf, right? And Sue said, oh my gosh, I'm gonna totally call them the official Rhinebeck socks. As long as Debbie's okay with it. She said, as long as Debbie's okay with it. And I'm like, I don't care. You call them whatever you want. I don't care what you call them. So now they're going to be tagged by Sue, the official Rhinebeck socks, because it's a leaf pattern. It's leafy.
Nobody asked me to test knit the sock pattern. I'm feeling a little left out.
Do you really want to knit socks?
I want to try them, especially now that they're so popular in the official Rhinebeck sock. I'm gonna have to now.
Okay, I will send you the pattern. Mom is knitting them right now, and she's got comments on, I'm sure, already. But I just sent her the pattern yesterday, so don't feel like you're that behind.
I was so left out. It was kind of funny because I told Debbie, I said, "Now I hope you're not expecting me to do it." She says, "I know you don't knit socks, really." She says, "I'll modify the pattern and make you a pattern for fingerless knits." And I was just kind of joking, but you know what, Debbie? I think and you think I could do it, right? Because I'm not that extreme.
Oh my gosh, Amy, it's totally memorizable. It's totally memorizable, and I made charts.
Can you do it either toe up or cuff down? Top down?
Well, the pattern right now is written cuff down. And I probably, since I want to get it released really quickly, I probably won't do a toe-up version. I'm thinking maybe after it's out for a little while, I'll do an update with the toe-up version later. But
sure, it's quite before Rhinebeck in case people want to.
I know, that's why I got to get them out. And then it has an Eye of Partridge heel.
And what is that? Oh, is that the Eye of Partridge heel?
Yes. I really like the Eye of Partridge, but you can insert any heel that you like because you can make the sock as long as you want. You can make it a long leg, put in a heel, and then knit your thing, and then do your toe. And I just do the standard. The instructions have a standard kind of wedge toe that has a little bit of a rounded shape towards the top.
And what yarn is that, Debbie?
This is the Spun Right Round, Float On By.
Oh, yes.
Remember?
I'm thinking maybe one of our hedgehogs might be really beautiful for.
Yes. That would be really pretty.
Some of the other, this is actually water lily, not serendipity, but some of the others we got that were really light and speckly.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got one finished object.
Okay, let's see it. Oh my gosh, Amy, it looks great.
So this is pretty. This is the Random Active Color cowl, which I started designing up as soon as Debbie and I finished the prototype of the Random Active Color wrap. I just couldn't leave it alone. And actually, this is Chili Knits. This is Connie's yarn. She's Connie_knits on Instagram, but Chili Knits is her Etsy shop. This is in her sport weight. It's Argentinian yarn. That's 90% merino, 10% cashmere.
Oh, wow.
It is so glorious to knit with. It is absolutely divine. So incredibly soft. So it has all the basic design elements as the wrap. It has the eyelets. It has the seed stitch.
Striping.
The seed stitch rows and some other rows. And I tried something I never did before. Of course, I didn't get all the ends figured out. But I Pico cast on.
Oh, wow.
I just made it up. I'm sure it's not hard. And then I did a Pico cast off because that is at the end of the pattern. There's picos. So there's there's picos on either end.
It's pretty, Aim. Oh, so wow. It's really pretty.
Yeah, I think instead of a seed stitch in this V, I'm going to put it in the C color. But it's a good start. These colors, and I don't think she named these colors. The cream actually is just bare. It hasn't been dyed. And I don't think she named this one. This is sort of like Sea Glass is maybe one of the colorways that's pretty close. But this pink, she does have that colorway in her Etsy store. It's called Maybe. It is beautiful.
So
it's a little
pretty.
speckled, soft pink. Doesn't this color remind you of Danny?
Yeah.
Bobbins?
Yeah.
So, anyway, you'll be seeing more of this. And I'm going to knit it up again. I'm going to get some more yarns from her, maybe do a little brighter version. So, and I think maybe Debbie and I were talking about it. We're going to let the wrap come out in July, and maybe in the fall we'll release the cow pattern as it gets a little closer to cooler weather, at least in the Northern Hemisphere.
Maybe that can be the official Rhinebeck cowl.
Oh, yeah, that would be, perfect. Okay, so if you have the cowl and you have a sweater and you have the socks, then you will be a one whole package.
Hopefully it's not 90 degrees on that weekend, or we're all going to be so
It's
disappointed.
going to be a lot of trouble. Pack a pair of flip-flops just in case. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm kidding. But you might want to bring your flip-flops and your flip-flop socks, though.
Yeah.
I've knit a lot of baby hats. Well, that's when I got back into knitting. I started doing that. But I've never knit an adult hat.
Really?
And I don't even know if I'm good wearing a hat. But I know that I'm going to have to I'm thinking about knitting Becky Sorensen's Soprano Knits.
Yeah.
Her beautiful chevron was it a chevron? It's like a diagonal. I guess it's sort of like a sideways chevron.
It's called herringbone, I think, right? Red herring is the name of the pattern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I may knit myself a hat for Rhinebeck.
That sounds like
with
fun.
Becky's hat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my only finished object.
Okay. Did you get anything fun in the mail this week?
Did I get anything fun in the mail? Now, it's been a couple weeks.
Yes.
So I got some good stuff in the mail.
Yes.
Okay, so first I want to say thank you to Knitting by Nature. She heard that I was oohing and eyeing over a little teacup set.
She is so sweet.
Sent me one. She sent one for myself. How sweet is she? I just love her. That was so sweet, and she sent me some teas and a sweet little card. And then, because a while back I was hee-hawing about all of the coffee crisps that you got. Well, you were eating on the coffee crisp, and then I got that huge shipment of coffee crisps from my friend from Paradise Island, Patricia. And then I got a box of more goodies from Maple Mousse Fibers. She is the sweetest. It's Michelle, if I'm not mistaken. I'm thinking it's Michelle. She's got a podcast, too.
She does?
A handful of videos. She is so fun to watch. You guys, if you want a new podcast to watch, it's Maple Mousse Fibers. She makes bags, and that was one of the things that she did, is she made me a bag, sent me a bag.
She didn't send me a bag.
Huh?
She didn't send me a bag.
She didn't. That's what happens when you start to brag about all the candy that you have. You don't get the good stuff. And there's her little tag.
Oh, so cute.
Fiber. And I think she does buy some yarn as well, but she does make bags. And I got some, and here everybody gets, she says in her podcast, a little moose.
Oh. Progress keeper.
And some tea, a progress keeper, a little button. And also in that box were some edible treats.
Did she send you Tim Tams? Is she in Canada? Oh. They're empty. Amy.
This is one of the first things that got eaten. My husband, he says, more candy? Amy, we don't need to be eating candy. I said, well, just try it. I don't really even know what it tastes like. He tried it. 2 days later, the whole bag's gone already. I said, you need to go back out of town because you're eating all my good stash. She also sent me these things called Wonder Bars.
Oh, my gosh. Amy, where are they from?
From Canada.
Oh, Canada.
It tastes like a Butterfinger with peanut butter as well. That's what these taste like. We were sharing one last night. And of course she had to send me some more coffee crisps.
I don't have any more. I don't have any more coffee crisps. Well,
and there's more Smarties. But I'm not sure. I think these look like they're chocolate Smarties. We don't have. I know at the Nesty, I don't think we've got chocolate ones. So I haven't even opened up a couple of these bags yet. But I have finished the Tim Tams. Because Timothy and Tammy got together and they made these little babies and they were called Tim Tams. They're very, very good. And the Wonder Bars are very good.
Is that really a story? Did you just make that up?
I made that up just now.
Oh.
Aren't I creative?
I thought they had a story written on the side of the packaging or something about Timothy and Tammy.
No, that's just a complete lie, so that's okay. I have other things, but what do you have? Do you have anything that you got in the mail?
I have a couple things. Well, I got my hedgehog, which is already skeined up and part of my Hohi knit test knit. And I got
Yeah.
my first installment of my Berenwula Sock Club of the month.
Chinese sign for dark.
And this is called Beach Hut. And it's my colors. Check this out.
Oh my gosh, how beautiful. Greens and turquoises and
And
sage. Is that dark purple or black?
yes,
Brown?
it's like an eggplant purpley that's so dark,
Oh my
it's like
God.
black.
Vicky, you did so beautiful with that colorway. That's called Beach Hut.
Yes. And look, it's even got
Oh,
bright green in it. Kelly green.
that's beautiful.
So this has like blue, regular straight up blue in it too, like a royal blue. Pieces
Wow.
of, look at that.
So deep. I mean,
And
really,
then
really
light
beautiful.
light silvery blue sections. Look at that.
Yeah. Yep.
So I don't know
So
what this
pretty.
is. This is most likely I think this is going to be another pair of socks. I may end up
Yeah.
designing another pair of socks. I don't know. I'm getting into all the sock knitting. Okay. So
That's
that's one thing. And then I totally pulled a GG. I'm going to call it a GGT. A Grocery Girls Tracy. Oh, GGTP. Grocery Girls Tracy purchase. I do not remember buying this. I have no recollection at all of hitting buy,
really
purchase. None. And I know I bought it because I saw it on their podcast. I recognize the name and I know I saw it on their podcast, but I have no idea when I bought. I must have watched the podcast, paused, gone over there, looked in the shop, hit buy, and went back and just totally forgot about it.
you really have a problem, Debbie.
I do. I can't even read the name of the colorway. This is Endlessly Soft Sock and Shawl Yarn. It's 80% merino, 20% nylon, 115 grams, 426 yards of Kaleidoscope Dye Works.
Ooh, I got that in a swap from the You and Me swap. I got a few skeins of that. Not that same colorway, but Kaleidoscope. It's the first I'd ever gotten of Kaleidoscope yarns. They are so beautiful. Debbie, look at that turquoise. And then the purples and pinks on the other side. It almost looks like two separate skeins of
I
yarn.
know. I had to open it up. It's called the Midwife's Garden. Blue and pink. Isn't that, I didn't even get that till now. Midwife, she births babies and there's blue
Yeah.
on one side and pink on the other.
Oh.
Isn't that cool?
Oh.
So check
Love
out this
that
skein, you
colorway.
guys. It's got like blue and green on
Like in
one
the center.
side, pink in the middle, pinks and purples in the middle, and blue and green on the other side. So I think
Cool.
I think it's going to speckle, but maybe spiral or stripe in some way. Isn't that gorgeous?
Very, very beautiful.
So that's a GGTP. Going to coin that term now. Gigi made me do it.
Gigi made you do it.
But even
though
more
Sue said
so, I did it, and I don't even remember. I was half asleep.
It needs to be called AP, Amnesia Purchase.
Yes. Maybe GGTAP.
Where's your girls? Tracy,
Amnesia purchase.
GGTAP.
GGTAP.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I got a box. Do you remember last week when we were pulling our prizes for the Indie Dyer giveaway? They got paper bags. Okay. So the girl that won, she's one of my buddies.
The one with the farm, right?
Huh?
The one with the farm?
Yes, one with the farm. Queensboro Farm. She sent me back a goodie box. with double the amount of stuff because some of it's coming to you too, Debbie.
Amy.
I didn't tell you that because I wanted it to be a surprise. First, let me show you a picture of her and her sister. So it's Marcia and Pammy. They're sisters. They live together. Debbie, this is so going to be me and you. When all the husbands die off and all the kids disown us, we're going to buy a farm. We're going to have all these animals and do whatever we want and have chickens that lay eggs. And we're going to sit around and we're going to knit. We're going to be the crazy cat ladies or something. They're not crazy cat ladies, but...
Oh, my gosh.
Picture? This is Marcia, and this is Pammy.
Look at the two of them. How fun is that?
Pammy is an acupuncturist by trade.
Wow.
And she started going back to work because she's a cancer survivor times 2 or 3. I can't remember.
Oh,
so
my
it's been very exciting that she's well enough to go back to work. But they sent me the sweetest card. They sent a whole bunch of pictures of their sheep and their dogs and their bunnies, and on the back of each of the pictures they wrote all about the pictures. I'm going to send the pictures to you, but I'm going to keep this one because this is my sweet picture.
Okay.
So there's crochet coasters.
Oh.
4 crochet coasters. Aren't those so beautiful?
They are.
Hang on a minute. Let me show you what else. Of course, all of the pictures and the sweet cards and stuff, but one of the other things that has just blew me away. Purple wrapping paper, tissue paper. No more kidding. Okay, so here's some of the sheepies.
Oh, I can just guess what's inside this package. If they have sheep. Oh, I knew it.
Yes. She told me that nobody else has these skeins of yarn, just me and you. Now, maybe that's a big fat lie, but I like to think that that's true. But it's like it's more of a worsted weight, Aran weight. Isn't that beautiful? This is from her actual sheet. So I'm going to send you your skein because I could have just not told you anything about it, and they would have thought you got it, and I would have 2 skeins, but I'm not like that.
What do you picture? You know what I picture out of those skeins?
What?
A cow, or
nice squishy
or
cow.
a Rhinebeck hat.
Oh, what? Now you broke up. What? A Rhinebeck hat?
Yes, or a Rhinebeck hat. I don't know. Although Becky's pattern doesn't call for that weight, I don't think. Probably not Aran weight, but a luxurious something that just sits right here and is nice and cozy. Is it 100? What kind of sheep? What kind of sheep are they?
You would have to ask me that. They have 4 legs.
Is the yarn?
It says on the back of the picture of the sheep, "Sweet baby."
Is it woolly feeling? Is it soft? Is it
soft? It's soft, but it's woolly. It's soft. I mean, I think if you wash it, I think it'll even soften up after you wash it. Plus, it's bare, Debbie. I could dye it.
Are you going to? I'd be afraid. I'd be afraid. You know, I wouldn't be afraid to tea dye it. Maybe I would tea dye it or dye it with something natural.
Yeah. Ooh, so pretty. Thank you, Marcia. Thank you, Pammy. Mwah, 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 mwah. I love those ladies. Sweet. So I also wanted to say, is it time to talk about thank yous now?
No, not yet. I have one more thing that I got in the mail.
Okay, I won't put my granny glasses on.
You know, I signed up for the Legacy Knits Grocery Girls mini skein swap where you do the 10 gram skeins and the tees, yes. And I got mine. My partner was Tina, who is iGasm on Ravelry and iGasm Knits on Instagram, and she's in Australia, and she sent me. She labeled them all. Oops.
Oh.
Look at all those little yarns, and I
always feel bad because I'm so. I don't do that.
I got the Lemonade Shop. I got 100 Ravens. I got Lydia mini sock. I got all kinds of 10 beautiful mini skeins. And she sent me some tea. And I'm looking for them and I can't find them in here now. What did I do with them? She sent me 2 little progress keepers. One is a little kangaroo and the other one is a little silver charm that's cut out in the shape of Australia.
Oh my gosh, how cute is that?
They're in here.
I don't know why I thought about it. I guess you're talking about minis. Have you started your June sock square?
Not June, not yet. It's not June yet.
So, who follows the rules anyway? Nobody does, even Sue.
I
Sue
gotta
said
find
so.
those
You can do it.
progress keepers. They're probably downstairs. I thought I put them back in here. She wrote a cute little note. So thank you, Tina. I hope you get mine soon. I hope they make it okay. Because the ones I sent her were all from projects that I had made.
And it's getting ready to be wintertime in Australia.
Yes. So it's perfect timing for her to make something fun. Okay, you can go ahead and start your thank yous.
Okay, so let me put on my...
We are at 1 hour and 10 minutes, just so you know.
Ooh. Did I show my Lolo Did It Sock Yarn Club? Did I show that last time?
The hot pink? Yeah.
Okay, all right, I'm just making sure. Okay, I had one of the girls that's in our group who loves our podcast. Her name is Sharon Michelle. When we were talking about wanting to use our gradient yarn and what patterns would be nice with gradient yarns, she sent me a pattern.
Oh,
so sweet. She gifted me a pattern. It is by Truly Myrtle Designs. It's called Nessa by Libby Johnson. Let me show you. I'll just show the picture. And it's on Ravelry for $6.
Oh, pretty. Is it like a poncho? It looks like a poncho.
No, it does look like that in this picture, but it's. Let me find another picture of it wrapped.
I gotta get my hair cut.
Well,
oh, what a mess. Oh, they're just so long and it's just straggly. It's bad.
So it's basically, I mean, it's kind of wide on one side. Can you see?
Yes. Oh, that's pretty. It looks like it has an open kind of lacy chevron-y kind of thing.
Yeah, and so it uses one full skein of like a tonal and the other one of a semi-solid gradient. So I think it really cool. Like it's, and you know the gradient, the other gradient from Art by Anna that she made up that I gave you for your birthday that has all 3 of our colors in it?
Yeah.
I thought that would be really beautiful with this pattern and then pick one of those colors as the tonal, as like the solid. So that's called Nessa. Thank you so much, Sharon Michelle, for gifting me that. I thought that was really, really sweet. And this is, well, it's not in my queue anymore because it's printed out. So that means it's a must to have to knit it. So
very good.
Thank you. Oh, and Debbie, have you watched any new podcasts?
I've watched several, but I've been catching up on some of the people that I've watched before. I haven't seen any new ones. No.
I talked about Maple Moose Fibers.
Okay, I'll go watch her.
So you have to go and check her out. Okay, so I think it was on her podcast that mentioned this other podcast that I had to watch. I've only watched a couple of them. These 2 girls, it's called Wet Coast Wolves. Wet Coast Wolves.
Okay.
And I think they're in Seattle, and I'm probably butchering all of that. But they have a store, Debbie Yarn Store. How crazy and awesome is that? One's name is Glenda, the other one is Bernadette, and Bernadette is kind of one of those. I think Bernadette was the one that really wanted to do the podcast, and Glenda was just like, oh God, I don't know about doing that, but they're both so sweet. They sit there and knit. You talk about watching people who can knit really fast and don't have to look at their hands. They're just sitting there, just how are they talking and thinking about things and all of that, and just like zooming on their knitting. I mean, they make cardigans and they teach sock classes and just, I mean, of course, and they have all this beautiful yarny goodness behind them. So you have to check it out. It's called
Okay.
the Wet Coast Wolves.
Okay,
podcast.
when you send me your notes for the show notes, make sure you include that.
I will make sure that I get that to you before 2 weeks from now. We will do that quickly.
Yes, do that either today or tomorrow so I can get that up before I have to go back to work.
Do that. I can do that. So what do you do tomorrow? I mean, tomorrow is Memorial Day. I usually work on Memorial Day because it's just another day. But I said, you know what? No, you're not going to work. You're going to take the day off. So I had to move all my patients, so I'm working Tuesday through Saturday. So I don't really know if that's really considered taking a day off. Oh, wow. But it's okay because the boys are at the beach with their other grandparents. Sky is coming home tomorrow night. Ronnie is home, so, and it's a little bit gloomy. I thought it was going to be nice, so I don't know. I keep talking about wanting to go camping, and Ronnie says, well, it takes a lot to get organized. And I said, well, when are we going to take one of these days to get organized so when we want to do it, we can do it. So I don't know, maybe we'll do that.
You can take advantage of a lot of Memorial Day sales at some of the sporting goods stores and buy some of those things that you need for a camping trip. You just need to buy a big bin. That's what I did last summer when I took the boys camping. A big bin. And just put all the things in there that you know, like his extra frying pan, your little hatchet, you know, flashlights.
I fill all my yarn in the bin, and there wouldn't be anything for Ronnie.
No, you don't need yarn. That's a separate bin. You need the camping bin. It's a separate bin.
So we need 2 bins. One for camping things and one for essentials like toilet paper and yarn.
Right. Well, the camping bin, once you have it packed, then you just leave it in your garage, and then you just need to pick it up, and you don't have to repack everything. So, but
perfect idea.
Right now in Southern California, we have 2 months where it's not sunny every day. It's called May gray and June gloom, and it's usually cloudy and overcast and cool, a little bit cooler. Next week we're supposed to get some warm weather. Today, Tanya, my good friend, is going to the beach. I don't know if I'm going to trying to park at the beach. Yeah, trying to park your car at the beach on a holiday weekend is insane. So,
well, James, and then you walk down there and it's so windy, and when you're sitting there trying to do a periscope, people are falling in front of you on their bikes. Oh my God, Debbie! I always want to go to the beach when I go to California with Debbie. Debbie's like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "I know you just live 20 minutes."
Yeah.
I know. So we go, and it is so freaking windy on the beach down there.
Not all the time, Amy. It's not like that all the time. It just so happened that the 2 times that you were here.
I have been there. It's been like that.
It's not like that all the time.
I was a kid, and Dad met us down there. His hat almost flew off. It was so windy that day. Do I just bring the wind and the rain from Georgia when I come?
You're full of hot air.
Okay.
It just blows and blows.
All right, so anyway.
Yeah, okay, so just to close, Humble Happenings, we have our shawl patterns coming out very quickly. My sock patterns coming out very quickly. Thank you to all of our test knitters. Mina, I'm going to put a couple pictures of her finished object shawl of the Random Active Color. Beautiful, gorgeous photos that she took. So I'll probably pop 1 or 2 in at the end of the episode. And I think that's it. Oh, we're going to open up the thread for the giveaway for her sock collection, her sock pattern collection, Mina's. Beyond Vanilla Part 1, I think it's called. Beyond Vanilla Socks Part 1.
And before our next podcast, well, we'll podcast in 2 more weeks, but I guess, like, you've already opened up the June birthday swap thread in Ravelry? Okay, all right. I guess that's all of it.
Okay, gotta do our high five.
High five. And if you can't be kind,
just be quiet. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you so much for coming back and watching us again, and thank you for checking us out if this is your first time with us. We really appreciate our viewers so much. Take care. Happy knitting. Bye.
Bye.